try and
count me down when it's yeah.
Yeah.
Have fun, everyone.
Live. Well, start speaking now.
All right. Hello, everyone. Hello, Internet. Hello, poets. Hopefully they can see all of you. And welcome to Fresh Winter Greens, the eco-poetry open mics. We're here to discuss how we feel about nature, how we feel about the things we're doing to it, what this year has done for us, what this year has shown nature does for us, exploring how we feel about all these themes. I'm not going to tell you what all of the poems are about because we have an incredible lineup of people tonight. I'm just genuinely very wowed by the list of bios that we have for all the poets. I'll give you a bit of flavor text before each of the poets come up, and then we can enjoy 3 minutes for them. There'll be 2 feature acts. We are going to start with Gboyega Odubanjo, and then we'll have Rakaya Fetuga coming later. So we're actually going to start internationally with a lot of art. By the way, there's a weird echo coming from David at the moment. I don't know if you could maybe mute.
Yes, I was going to say the same thing. I think we should all mute. Unless
okay. I think it was only David, but anyway, continuing. Tech difficulties. Yeah, so we're going to get started with this, yes, fresh. We're not calling it the second fresh or anything like that, because if we called it fresh number 2, people might get the wrong idea. So we're going to just call it Fresh Winter Greens, and we'll know it is the second one, and hopefully there'll be more in the future. But for the moment, yes, welcome to Fresh Winter Greens. Here we go. We're going to start internationally with poetry from Moya de Feita. So she's coming from Antwerp, where she's won pretty much all of the poetry prizes that she can. The Antwerp Poetry Contest right now and Frappant. She's published 2 books, one of them specifically about climate change. She has also founded her own, let's call it a sister group, Klimaatdichters, which is based in the Netherlands and Belgium, and for poets there to do other eco-poetry type things. Obviously, if you are international and would like to get involved in making other sister organizations, we'd be very happy to help out in whatever way we can. Anyway, let's hear now from Moya. Please give a big round of applause, whatever you can in the means that you have.
Well, good evening, everyone. As Robin said, I founded the Belgian-Netherlands chapter of Poets for the Planet around here, and I would first like to thank everyone for all of the inspiration that you've given us, and I hope there will be many more international collaborations to come. First thing we did with the Klimaatdichters in Belgium and Netherlands is we made a book called Swimming Lessons for Later, with 100 poets from Netherlands and Belgium, and each of them wrote 1 climate-related poem. And so for you, I'll read the poem that I wrote, which is called Before Departure. This wind is not a post-colored picture of a sheet that was lifted and carried away, but air that pushes itself, punches, hurtles through ribs. The drops might be reminiscent of shreds of shiny aluminium or pixels on a screen, but it is rain, water from clouds that forms puddles, pulls on trouser legs, drips from your earlobe. Once a plant was a tree was a woodland was a rainforest. Now the rainforest is waiting for water in a vase from a watering can that is on loan. Don't slip away from the world, not even when scratches become cracks, when voices are once again concrete in a wound. Suppose there was a point, the top of a mountain, the roof of a skyscraper, from where you could see everything, all people, ants, seeds, blistering signals. Suppose the image was proportional. Suppose that all lives on earth giggled, complained, and died equally loud. Would you watch? If you cannot find shelter, then become one. Let bees swarm, fungi sing. grow so slowly that only trees can see it. Follow the veins between gill and chest, the source with the smallest feet. Wipe the blood off the leaves, roll stripes into circles, and do not sigh. You still have a long way to go.
Woo woo.
Yeah, thank you for kicking us off by exploring so many different themes of everything to do with like our destruction of the rainforest, how it requires our, continued efforts to keep it okay at the moment, and yeah, thinking about things. Great. I will gradually be feeding forwards comments that we get from YouTube to poets, but it takes extra time for that to happen because we are slightly in the future compared to the internet, just in case we suddenly start doing hate speech or unexpected nudity, which I assume won't happen, but just in case YouTube does delay us by a little bit, please try avoid doing that, poets. Yeah, we are going to move quickly on, and we'll then probably give you more effusive comments about how much we loved it later. So we're going to move on now to Christina Hogg. Christina Hogg is a spoken word artist, lyricist, and debut author with a diploma in creative writing from Oxford University. She recently performed at the Edinburgh Poetry Festival open mic with her nature and climate poetry. And yes, she's done quite a lot of climate change related things. She's a songwriter throughout the world, really, but mostly in the UK. And she's going to have a show called Fan Mail at Edinburgh Fringe next year when it hopefully happens again. Anyway, please give a really big round of applause to Christina Hogg.
Thank you. This is about pop stars and the Peak District. Nature Face. Nature faced us like a personal crisis. He looked at a cave and saw his father in the past and him as a son. Nature faced us like a personal crisis. A rock face has faced us. Nature providing us with answers, a refuge, a high place above where it floods will ever reach. This is always there, was always there all along, always within reach if you don't abandon it. He puts his songs in it. I heard them on the radio. He specifically says, this is important to me. See? Nature faces like a personal crisis. She said, don't look now, but there's someone in the middle of a tree campaign right next to you. Community was a new word that nature hadn't heard of, but knew what it was intrinsically. Nature face nature. She sends floods, does she? She sends death, does she? We suspected as much, just standing us, eating us tea. It seems so tranquil. After the sound she'd never heard before, only in sound check, and although it turns out they record it, it's all over now. Baby blue John veins in rock, shot through veins, timeless seams, veins, caves. Came and caves went, caverns were entrenched, and according to John, couldn't be blown up by hookers, the oldest shelter combined with the oldest profession. Just try blowing it up, you'll only make it a bigger deal. Nature face, you say you like it here, and then you walk away to the city, presumably. How about you rock me? It's human nature, face it. This moment represents a uniqueness of circumstance to me, a crisis in a setting of nature so awesome I can never get over it. Climate. I live in a flood zone because of housing crisis. I use 20% of others, but I don't bang on about it. And one day a freeway will run through when it's past, and like a Willie Nelson song, they split up two things you should know. Worst case scenario, and the meek shall inherit will say, come knocking on the door. Didn't the trees go on the moors a long time ago? We burnt them as humans like bridges, but hey, no pressure. The purple heather, if that's all that's left, I'll take it. Thank you.
Wow. Woo.
Okay.
You Storm.
So fantastic.
Yeah, lovely stuff. And we're beginning to hear lots of effusive praise, mostly coming through late, as I say, for Moya. But I'm pretty sure you're going to get a lot of great comments too, Christina, there. But yeah, just wonderful continuum of emotion sort of bursting through. Yeah. We're going to now hear from Sitara Ebrahimi. Sitara Ebrahimi is an Iranian-British poet, published her first pamphlet, In My Arms, 2 years ago, and her full-length collection, Galloping Horses, this year. She's been published in numerous anthologies and journals, things that other people do, you know, the Eunoia Review, Confluence, and Proletarian Poetry. She has a master's in English and American literature from the University of Kent. So please give a really warm welcome to Sitara.
Thank you. Wandering rocks. So far from humanity, the pace of your body slows to that of the mountains. Last traces of civilization claw at the ground that's cracked fresh green and fragrant earth. An immediate open expanse, like a ripcord snapping, is a sight books can't prepare for. That feeling of knowing every dull thing outside your house without leaving it is violated by the landscape that's more a different planet than country. Part Amazon, echo of oriental branches and brooks, humid, with a silence that's natural. You're slightly dirtier and somehow purer. Wean your body off its contraption use, learn its self-sufficiency. In these tall forests with their thin, dense trees, intoxicated Israelis saw fairies. You and your girlfriends are nymphs in the land of nudity without nakedness, where mist would be seen to circle treetops if anyone was looking, where you almost forget to be.
Woo.
Lovely, what a sort of mystic aura, underpinned, of course, by the understanding, as we've heard, that the Amazon is under threat. But, you know, it's still lovely and mystical while it's there. Yeah, so thank you for that. Yes, we're getting some claps through for the previous performers, but we're going to keep going because, you know, got to get through everything. People, yeah, commenting how magical that was. Anyway, so the next person is going to be Amy McAllister. So Amy McAllister is a London-based spoken word artist. She's won most of the slams that she possibly could at this point, including the anti-slam, which is the slam to do the worst poems you possibly can, Hammer and Tongue London, which, yeah, it's the regional one. And she also was part of the winning team at the UK Team Slam finals at the Royal Albert Hall, also the Great Northern Slam. She's got her debut collection, Are You As Single As That Cream, published by Burning Eye Books as well. So please give a really warm welcome to Amy McAllister.
Thank you. 2 short poems. This first one is called Back to Nature, and it's about my favorite thing in lockdown. There's just something about it. Scanning the edges of the park, the marsh, the towpath for the perfect spot. Accessible enough, a little trampled into, but by the few, not by the many. And no risk of major scratches on the lower legs. It's best if there's no tissue visible, but the odd Kleenex can reassure. This spot has worked out well for some other adventurer. I go further, tissueless, forgoing wasteful Western comforts with a little shake. It is a soil enhancer, this. My buttocks kiss the ground, me and my inner animal have reconnected, and the earth drinks up 2 bottles of recorderlig that my amazing body has converted into nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium at a ratio of 10:1:4. You're welcome, planet. Used to have to plan it when I'd go. My granny bladder cutting long walks short, my routes dictated by my urges, clued up to fuck on which hotels could be snuck into and which petrol station toilets to avoid. A prissy little human thing, pretending not to be a monkey in an outfit, like as if I am above fighting and biting, above pushing someone fit against a wall and begging them to have me now, albeit with consent, above shoving my face right into something tasty. Why the fuck do we use cutlery? Oh, pea. Oh, woodland pea. I'm back. I missed you. How I missed you. I missed me. So that's the first one. I did warn you that they would be silly today. And this is called Wake. We're on a seaside terrace. No, it's not a terrace. It's a boat. No, not a boat, a ship. No, we are landlocked, but the water has come in. It missed us just as much as we missed it and came to visit. There are jellyfish guilt-tripping us as we eat squid risotto and tampons bobbing, putting us right off our thick red wine. The tampons don't speak English. They have traveled many miles. But we've become more sensitive. Yes, we can read between the lines, just like a good rape crisis team. Can take our smartphones off the table, drop feminism and neuroplasticity off the conversation pile for long enough. We listen. self-congratulate great people, as the tampons and the jellyfish beseech us to do something. But we've done so much already. Walked our feet off, worked up such an appetite, and the baskets with 4 kinds of bread in them make us forget the bigger picture, make us reach for garlic butter, fixate on each other, nodding at the drivel our companions spew until the sea swells up over the canopy and we are floating frantic, with the jellyfish and the exotic tampons wishing we had listened better. Thanks.
Oh, wow.
Woo!
Thank you. That was
I think we can see how Amy has won all these things. It's the funny, 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 stab you with emotions response that she gets all her. It's definitely a thing that she does very well with her poetry. Yeah, thank you for bringing that for us. So next up, we're going to have Chloe Proctor. Chloe is a London-based poet. She considers her practice to exist in the chthonic realm of involuting soil poetics. She's interested in interjections, clashing discourses, soil, fungus, and semantic mess making. Her work has appeared in really very long list of journals, including, I think most recently, Rewilding an Ecopoetical Anthology. And her artist books can be found at the National Poetry Library, which incidentally will come up later. And if you're thinking, oh, that's far away or it's not on lockdown, you can actually sign up for ebooks from libraries where they have them. If you're in the UK, I don't think Moya can, but everyone else, you have the access, you have the power to access all of the ebooks that they have in libraries, even during lockdown. So do make use of that. And then you can read everything from Chloe Proctor. Great. She is an MA graduate of Poetic Practice, a member of the Crested Tit Collective, and a newly appointed admin robot at the Bayville Tower Notice Board. Please give a warm welcome to Chloe Proctor.
Whoop, whoop, whoop.
Woo! Sorry, that was such a mouthful, Robin. I'm going to read a new poem called Sinistros, and it is going to be published on the Babel Tower Notice Board this coming Friday, I think. So if you enjoy it, you should read it there. Sinistros is basically when plants grow in spirals around a central stem, just to contextualize this a bit for you. Sinistros. All compounds being in place, is then the question grounded? Relevance of bud to stem to root, circummutation is granted, each turn as if perfected. Negation of unequal growth continuing in spite still. Pattern necessitates coding, of cells passed as swollen language, in repeating patterns on graphic paper. Words for extinct nouns, extinct words, strong and stable is linguistics of Holocene, natural balance only when untouched. Hands grasping wrists stabilize muscle adhesion, rolling bodies at soil level. Pronounce we with tentacle diction. Pronouns she, sh, and shiad fine creeping. There are Irish words for fields unexisting, extinct words for extinct ecologies, words outlawed misshaping the compounds. The, aram, ba, ga, v, ga, ta. Sinistros as Babelic or capital. I wish to honor the freedom to repeat, retrace syntax, but always upward semantics, as in shuffling speech, as if misunderstood, as if cell wall is as precious as what permeates, as if contained in your ballistic grammar, as if contained isn't corrosive. Spatially, there is nothing but this to step on. The stem insists on skyward adduction, contend on compulsion to return, make mutant tongue lick sprout. Disease faster than clipping allows. Sicken dialect twisting. Thank you.
Whoop, whoop.
Lovely, yeah. So obviously people are very happy with that performance. Someone saying things I'm not sure I can say in the chat here. Very enthusiastic. What that's from. Anyway, we've also had a lot of good feedback from previous poets, as I say, in the past, as it were. So people saying, yeah, thought-provoking stuff from Setara, strong stuff from, and an exhilarating ride from Amy, and someone really feeling the granny bladder vibes that you've got there, which I think we've all got that there. Yeah, people now coming through with the different aspect of the other type of nature that we got from Chloe, and we're going to see what other themes emerge. We've had rainforest themes. Don't know what's going to come up next, but now we've got more poetry from Teze Amoibi. Teze Amoibi is a Nigerian-born third culture kid, performance poet and storyteller. She's currently a student of the MA Creative Writing Process Poetic Practice Performance at the Royal Holloway University of London. She uses archetypes of childhood, such as fairy tales, African folktales, and nursery rhymes to explore childhood trauma. When not turning your favorite childhood memories into works of horror, she does live streams on history, culture, and feminism on Periscope. So her work can also be found at the National Poetry Library, and also in the Rewilding Anthology, and of course on Periscope. And hopefully there'll be also more social media links going in the chat, so you can find her on all of these things. Yes, excellent. I'm also just going to take this little opportunity to mention that there is a PayPal link that you can find hopefully at the top of the chat if you want to put money towards our features, and after we finish paying them, we'll put money towards Bees for Development, which is the charity that Poets for the Planet is supporting this year. Excellent. With that being said, please welcome Teze.
Yay! Woo.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for that wonderful intro. I'm going to be sharing, my name is Teze Amoibi, and I'm coming to you live from Nigeria. I'm going to be sharing a piece called Forest Project. I'll be sharing just a portion of it. It is based off of a Fluxus project, a larger Fluxus project that I did. Yes. The Forest Project, New England Forest. Go to New England, take a recorder, record the forest for an hour every day in the first week of the season. Repeat this every 4 weeks, 3 times a season. Repeat for a year. Make them into composition, into instruments, into opera. Turn the notes into letters, into groups of letters, into words. Turn the letters into words on a page. Arrange the words to represent the cross-section of a forest without a horizon. Perform the words, perform the notes, perform the music, perform the forest. 2, disintegrating, Waltzer Bend 2.0.
Oh dear.
Go to Germany. Record the forest in the style, rhythm, and rhyme of poem 1. Transcribe, perform. Perform the last days of the forest. Perform the funeral, the wake, the burial. Perform the goodbye. 3, dead. Go to Nigeria. Go to where a forest once was. Take a recorder. Record the ghost of the forest. Capture the wails of the phantom trees. Transcribe, perform. 4, Amazon. Go to Brazil. Go to the Amazon. Repeat poem 1. Record, transcribe, perform, save. 5, rewilding. Go to Wales. Go to the Atlantic oak woodland, Coed Felinard. Take a recorder, take a pencil, take paper, take a camera, record the rainforest reborn. Capture its essence. Question everything. touch nothing, record, transcribe, perform. 6, replanting. Go to Hertfordshire. Go to Heartwood Forest. Take a recorder. Take a pencil. Take paper. Record the forest reformed. Transcribe the sounds of the forest reformed. Capture the deceptive cadence. Write it onto the page. Touch anything. Write the deceptive cadence into the air. Touch nothing. Write the deceptive cadence back onto the page, into its form, into its content, into the white space, into the no space. Record, transcribe, perform. Perform replanting in the gallery space. Transcribe replanting into the environment outside. Write it off the page and into the voice, into the body and into the air. Write it onto the walls and into materials, tangible and intangible. Perform. 7, orchestra. Record, transcribe, perform. The symphony of forest sound. Play it every day for a week, every 4 weeks for a year. Fill the space with sound. Keep playing even after there is no space for more sound. Thank you.
Woo! Beautiful.
Lots of people saying how much they appreciated that. Yeah, people saying, yeah, all sorts of things, magical, lots of quotes coming up. We had lots of really good quotable lines about performing the forest. I have to say my personal associations with the recorder are probably quite different to yours. I'm guessing my housemate teaches recorder to small children. So different feelings, but I assume that you enjoy the recorder that is being played in these forests and reconstructing the forests as they happen. Yes, lovely. Yeah, loads of people saying, firstly, they've been clapping for all the people we've been hearing so far. And secondly, yeah, just the forest project is a work of genius. I encourage everyone to see the visuals that go along with it. Is something that's being said in the chat. So yeah, do find Tessa on various social media and give her a follow. Lovely. So next up, we're going to have Cynthia Rodriguez. Cynthia Rodriguez is a Mexican-British writer and performer based in Leicester, constantly experimenting with the possibilities of spoken word to convey everyday realities that may remain untold in the media, particularly about feminist issues, cultural and countercultural shock, rites of passage, and self-preservation. Her debut poetry collection, Meanwhile, was published in October of this year by Burning Eye Books, who obviously have been publishing a lot of great poetry, as we've already heard from A.M. Calster. So yeah, please give a really lovely welcome to Cynthia Rodriguez.
Hello, hi, thank you so much. Thanks for the opportunity. I'm going to be reading something not from Meanwhile, which you can get anyway from all my internets, but I'm going to be reading something a bit more related to the subject tonight, and it's about how we're offered, about how the onus on saving the planet is put on the little people, the little many people who we're trying to do our best, but it's not enough because the big corporations are the ones that need to do the biggest part. So that's about that. This is about that, and it's called Metal Straws. Time is running, the cars are not. They used to swim, now they barely float. Salmons in a current going the wrong way around. There's a deadline coming, we're not ready. Now we just do our best, but it's not enough. The king's take, don't blame it on the pawns. This will not suffice with no fumes of ours metal straws, a blaze soggy paper towels. It's not us who have power in our hands to soothe the air. My sons or freeze ice, burst back to rewind the clocks and to pay the tax upper air. Shall on swallow in their jets owners' hair. Be stones on our scratchy backs we migrate, barefoot their Ferraris flash in the blink of an eye. On their helicopters they commute to mansions on the other side of town. Somehow we're the ones to blame, our austerity will not save what their luxury lifestyle has thrown down the drain. Our austerity will not save what their luxury lifestyle has thrown down the drain. Our austerity will not save what their luxury lifestyle has thrown down the drain. Our passage through planet Earth will be washed off from history like tears in the rain.
Woo, woo,
Woo!
Thanks.
Thank you for that. Yeah, it's really lovely to hear the cadence, but then also the anger in the cadence and sort of the interplay between softness and hardness. Yeah, lovely.
Thanks very much.
Hopefully we've all had time to settle all of these thoughts into our heads, because now we're going to have our brains exploded again. We are going to move on to our first feature of the night. So most poets, as you know, are reasonably self-centered people. We like our own work. We've done our own work. All the people we have on tonight are great. So they've been performing their own things. But very occasionally, you'll find poets quoting other poets' work in an open mic. And when you do, you know you need to check out that poet. This poet is someone who I've heard quoted at 2 different open mics, once at quite great length. Gboyega Odubanjo is a poet based in East London. His pamphlet, While I Yet Live, which was I think it's given birth to really quite a few poems by this point, people playing with the ideas in it. And yeah, it's really one that you need to check out. That's by Bad Betty Press from last year. He's got another pamphlet coming out next year from Poetry Business, and he's the editor of Bath Mag. So we, having heard his poetry, heard people quoting his poetry, thought, why not go to the source? Why not get him on the show to do his own thing, 10 to 15 minutes, just let him go wild, and it's going to be brilliant. So please get yourself a drink, get yourself settled, take a deep breath, and let's see what we can hear from the man himself, Gboyega Odubanjo.
Hello, bonjour. Thank you very much, Robin. Thank you, everyone who has read. Cool. I'm going to read some poems. The first poem that I'm going to read is...
Your line bar. Right.
Things happening. Cool.
All right.
All right, cool. First poem that I'm going to read, appropriately enough, on this Saturday evening is called Saturday. It's only an hour till last call, and I want to run there with you. On the news, it's no, don't go anywhere. And I'm law-abiding, but also predisposed. Several things could happen here. I could tell you my story, you yours. We could explore the city, say, hello, Mr. Officer. We're just walking, thank you. Good day to you also. And that would be that. The girl, her face in the posters, we might never have to learn her name. Everyone could make it home before the papers are out. We could have a lovely time. Tick all the boxes, phone all the numbers. Charlie Charles wouldn't pick up. He said he was getting out to pursue art, and he has. The guy your cousin knows who drives the Merc, he says a drought's coming. I say, yeah, bro, our relationship with the ocean is unsustainable. He knows I know he meant the streets and doesn't laugh. I don't mind. This is how tonight is supposed to go. Your friends say I'm funny. The streets flood, the ocean floods. We know the names of all the girls. They tell us themselves. We go everywhere and no one stops us. My man picks up. We go. Cool.
Woo, woo, woo.
All of that good stuff. Next poem is called Oil Music, and it's kind of about Nigeria and oil companies in Nigeria and the stuff that they do, etc. Oil music. Call it a love song. I'll get the bathtub ready. I'm in, we in ceramic. Let's say black. I'm BP, your shell. We all in, we in the black. We both in a barrel. Call it a village. We both in the pumping. The people no get no nothing. No crabs in the river. No periwinkles to pick. No day that pass where they know they cry. Suffer this kind, suffer like this. We no care for them. I just want you to seep, blacken my lot. I'm gonna read now a section of a poem which was written part in response to not necessarily Extinction Rebellion, but an experience I had when I was trying to get to work and there were people from Extinction Rebellion or people who associated themselves with that organization who were standing on top of tubes on the Jubilee line, and it was inconvenient. The poem is called Epiphania. Outside, there are people gathered who don't live here. There are people about whom this isn't because they don't know. They come with their numbers, their scripts and slogans, and they speak their truths, and it is and is not. And they are here to save us, so we listen. They speak of famines, pestilence, earthquake, sea levels, fire, brimstone, disaster, death, and dying. But they are too late because it has happened already. They say there will be drought and thirsting, but we are thirsting already. They say we will go hungry, but we are starved already. The people we love will go, but they are gone, rounded up and taken. It has happened. The world will burn, they say, but it has burnt already. I've seen it on their news, in their papers, the smoke. It has happened, I swear. We will all die, they say. But what is death if not a prerequisite for resurrection? And are we not proof of glory? Are we not proof of holy? Are we not proof of funny? Are we not? But they say, this one will be different. Everyone will feel this one. They don't know. It has happened already, but it hasn't happened to them, so they don't know. They run around with their charts and their tears, and they are a weeping and gnashing of teeth, just wanting to save, but we can't be saved because we do know it has happened already. So we do what we always do when the world ends. We find home, we go there, close the doors, close the curtains, board the windows, and we make food. We eat with our hands and mouths open. We laugh, we sing loud enough to drown it all out. The drowning, burning, weeping, the wailing, gnashing. We wait, we sing, we hold each other, and the rains descend, the flood comes, and the rains descend, the flood comes. Cool, cool, cool.
Woo! Cheese. Cheese and cheese.
Oh.
Heck
Someone
yeah.
said cheese and cheese.
Yeah, I said cheese and I said cheese.
All right, cool. I'm gonna read 3 more poems. The first of which is called Brother. Brother. It's funny because the world is burning. This day is another. I wake up at 6:30. You south somewhere wake up. The day is itself. Metro become evening standard, become sleep. But today it's autumn. And it's been a court mandated 12 months. So you're driving again. The world is burning. I don't care. You say you're going to buy a Tesla, and we both know you won't. We won't make a difference, will we? Easy listening on repeat till it's smoke in the car, smoke in the streets. This poem is called A Story About Water. So there's a scorpion and a frog. They're trying to get across this river. The scorpion says to the frog, "Take me." The frog says, "Are you sure? Because if you sting me, we'll both drown." The scorpion says, "Of course I'm sure." So the frog takes the scorpion and the scorpion stings the frog, and of course they both drown. Wait, actually, it's 2 sisters. Sorry. 2 sisters trying to get across this river. And the river says, "I'm gonna need something in order for you 2 to get across." The first sister says, "Take my mangoes." The second sister says, "No, you can't have my mangoes." And she tries to go across, and of course she drowns. Besides, the old man already told them, don't go into the water. He said, "Don't you know that that is how they took us?" The younger sister probably forgot because the old man said a lot of things. He's the one who said 2 by 2 for 40 days. So, different story. This old man said, "If you want the water to stop, then plant a cross in the yard and sprinkle it with salt." But it didn't stop. Whole time, the sun and ocean are chilling on a bench. The ocean invites the sun to its house. The sun says, "How come you never come to my house?" The ocean says, "I'm not sure if I should come." The sun, "Of course you should." The ocean, "Are you sure there'll be enough room?" The sun, "Of course I'm sure." So the ocean goes and fills up the whole living room, says, "Are you sure?" The sun says, "I'm sure." So the ocean fills the corridors, stairs, bedrooms, the whole gaff. And so that's why the ocean is here and the sun is all the way up there. This
Yeah.
last time I'm going to
Yes, yes.
Yeah, yeah.
out. This last one that I'm going to read is called Swimming. Yes. And so over ocean, hoping we go, weathered by a toneless sky, grey mulatto. I let my spine be your deck, and I stroke the clothes from my back, your flag. You stand, pointing new world, I stroke. Listen to you promising ocean good blue. I stroke slow. You promise stone into bread. Water from stone into water we go. Your voice, it goes on, but there's water in throat, and there's water I stroke, and there's water we're drowning, and I as a boy could not swim, still I stroke. Your voice now a nothing, the water it sings, and we're drowning, we're drowning, we're drowning, I stroke. Thank you kindly.
Woo, 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 woo. Woo, woo.
Woo! Yay!
Oh, baby.
Thank you.
Yeah, I guess if you're at home, you can actually just pause now. You can just click the pause button and just wait and let it sink in. We can't actually do that. We've got to keep going to, get finished in another 3/4 of an hour. But if you're at home, you really can just let it all sink in. I think several of the poets are still in the process of just gibbering through how much positive feedback they have for that set. Fortunately, the poet who's coming up next hopefully is not in that category. But yeah, lots of people really very glad that they came to this and they heard this, and it's just changing our lives, I think, quite a lot in terms of the impact that poem has on us. But we have to keep moving because we need to get things finished. So Benjamin Custon is our next poet we're going to have on. He'll be reflecting on his 2.5 years of homelessness in the Cornish countryside. His first poetry pamphlet, Cut the Black Rabbit, was published in August by Against the Grain Poetry Press. So please give a really lovely welcome to Benjamin Custon.
Thank you very much. This body is edgeland, a hinterland of compost hitherto unclaimed, sprawled across 2 landscapes. Flora flows, connects to flesh, spores spawn in orbits. French hawthorn grows red from English eyes, wild boar carves scuffs between sycamore ribs. Fauna grafts to skin, the web between fingers replaced as spiders float on thread in the wind. A single grape on vine, uvula drips drops from the loin. Inner cheek half-light ripples, thin pool in palate brims over meniscus, cascades through pharynx, soaks dry valley floors of Farthingdown's liver and spleen, seeps through chalk skirting, feeds underground wandle below Buttercup Meadow. Kidneys don't tumble to bladder and piss in the sticks. River tongues talk of red admirals flutter across channel of open pores. Passerine cormorants, black silhouettes without shadow, uncasting their presence. Silence pulled in with subsurface reels, fish lie with cuckoo buttons in Surrey fields. Rabbit ears pout as parakeets cross into the sphere, settle in wide torso. The weight of red noise in echo through bone drops with leaves to golden depths, revealed by roots weaving in breathing body soil. Nutrient rich, mycelial network of tree speak connected, talking in eons. Cellulose fusion with flesh, gradual osmosis, a Venn diagram of heartbeats. Compost spindle rests on swollen glands, deep pink dog rose blooms from anus. terpeneal scent of skullcap blossoms, wolves repopulate brain forests, branches and stems of alpha predator connect awareness. All species know this. Most species know this. But one has been nails through bird feet, wings tethered in flame. Slowly the rib cage opens, long shadows from morning sun. Thank you.
Woo, woo, woo. Gorgeous.
Yeah. I mean, I don't want to say that it was soothing because it was profoundly disturbing on many levels, but at the same time, it was kind of soothing in the way that you were portraying this sort of depiction of nature in its normal state, and then obviously us with a bit of nature that's going wrong. But, you know, we are all nature in some way. So yeah, I guess there's always layers of beauty and power and also terribleness going on in everything. And so thank you for gently bringing that to us. Yeah, lots of love for this coming through in the comments. We're going to have to move on though to Maya Owen. Maya writes, sings and hopes to see a whale in real life. She reads Monstring, a magazine by and for disabled women and non-binary people, and works at Lesflix, a platform for sapphic on-stream content. If you meet her at a Zoom party, she will tell you she is mad, gay, Jewish and a twin. She is passionate about social justice, space hopper jousting, and the proper etiquette for transporting snails to safety after rain. Right. Please give a lovely welcome to Maya Owen.
So this is an excerpt from a poem composed of sentences, mostly intact, some redacted from an article in a science magazine, and it's called "Eels Don't Have Sex Until the Last Year of Their Life," a cento in which Freud and Aristotle make love on a riverbank and then they turn into eels. I think it's very funny to think about. It's actually more a story about humans, mostly. Freud went to Trieste to find the eel testicle. He spent a month in Trieste and dissected over 400 eels. And he's far from alone in his obsession. Aristotle studied the eel and tried to explain how they breed. That was like the holy grail of natural science at the time. He thought that the eel just came to life out of nothing from the mud in the rivers and the seas. They barely talked as they set their fishing lines along the bank. It was a magical place, surrounded by willow trees, with bats swooping through the moonlight. This was in the 1870s. This is a very fluid sense of time. And then it had a lot to do with sexuality. Freud was 19 years old. I always found it fascinating and a little scary, he says. And he's far from alone in his obsession, something about the human urge. They barely talk. Instead, they develop their sexual organs. On summer nights, him, near, this fluid sense. Then they go through another metamorphosis. Their eyes change, the way they swim changes, and then they live for a very long time as yellow eels in fresh water. Yes, that's an amazing story. That's one of my favorite stories in the science history of the eel. I think it's very funny to think about. This is the man who laid the basis for modern psychological therapy and the man who developed theories about penis envy and castration anxiety. What did he do in the rivers and the seas? That's still one of the mysteries. There wasn't any prestige in it. There was no money in it. Wasn't he searching for some evidence of testicles? No one could figure out how Aristotle, Freud, how they managed to transform to freshwater animals and then back at the end. Back home, the eels still squirmed and wriggled even after they were chopped up with no heads. Of course, you didn't find one testicle, but there's an explanation for that. It's actually more a story about humans. Their final goal is to return home to the place where they came from, but it's a very long and difficult journey. I always found it fascinating and a little scary. How do they know where they are going? Exactly.
Well, I personally am a big fan of poems that are mostly just long talks about science. It's really great to hear. Most of that was, by the way, factually accurate statements about how eels work. There were like a couple of small metaphors, but like mostly that is just solid stuff you can write in your exams, if you ever have exams on the biology of eels, and you'll get full marks. So yeah, great. Thanks for learning. We're actually getting quite a lot of information out of the night, as well as obviously metaphors and images to live by. Yeah, let's hope that keeps up. Next, we've got Max Vibio, an artist, scholar, and war veteran from Richmond, Virginia. She has experimental art and poetry films at Iceflow Press. Her art is also available at the Babel Tower notice board, which we've heard about already, Angstzine, and Poem Atlas. Her war poetry is available in e-anthologies with Oxford Brookes Poetry Centre, the Veterans Writing Project, Army at the Fringe, and a forthcoming work with the Veterans Writing Workshop. Right, thanks. Let's hear it from Max Vibio. Sorry, Vibo.
Oh, that's okay. Vibo, I'll take anything. Thank you for that warm introduction, Robin. That was lovely. Can everybody hear me? Okay. Are you from Siberia, some faraway place? Is your crown of gray or red, and are you whooping where you stay? Or is the land breezy, whipping sand along easy? Not a picky eater in times of pandemic, what would Whitman say to the vermin you eat? As others panic in a warlike reaction, as the supply chain breaks apart and sermons go out in a web, we're all learning to ration, calls to action, protests, tears, gas, and screaming matches, inaction, overreactions, and 900 contracting disease from one Indiana plant. Will you pick at the sand for scraps or make a plan, lay out traps? Whichever way is the right way. Back, isolation, nationalism, patriotism, privatization, capitalism, or armed militias. We're all in this together. Mother Nature has sure made it clear. She is ever in charge of our destiny. No longer seeing times of plenty, she is making us see reality, drawn a line in the sand. Will you honestly spray bleach? Sanitize the beach? Because the filth is the ilk you seek. People and origami cranes represent humanity, the fragility of peace and sanity. Freedom above with necks outstretched in prayer, eternal youth from a spring of light, of flight, the dance of millions more, a promise to Sadako for no more war. Thank you.
Yeah, lots of lovely praise coming through, by the way, from people who I guess are just watching in different times to us. So we've got people saying bravo for Moya already there in Dutch. So that's, I think, one of the few sentences of Dutch that you can work out, because bravo is the same in both languages, apparently. Someone saying, yeah, amazing things for, yeah, people loving eels. Yeah, lots of great stuff. I guess you can read it in the chat if you're in the chat, but I'm reading the sort of the insiders chat for the outsiders and the outsiders chat for the insiders. So everyone knows half of what I'm saying and is therefore very bored by it. But everyone hopefully is learning half the stuff that other people think, and you'll hopefully be glad to hear that everyone really loves all of these poems and is very moved by what they're hearing. Let's hope that trend continues with Gafar Fashola. Gafar is a young poet from Southwest London who believes that poetry is an art, and it's the artist's job to paint the beauty, the ugly, and the wonders of the world as they live it. Please give a lovely welcome to Gafar.
Good evening, everyone. So the piece that I'll be performing tonight is called The Art of Survival. And as Robin mentioned, it's life as I live it or have lived it. So yeah. Potential is a word I don't like to hear because it reminds me of all my fears, how I missed out on opportunities because I was just a little bit scared, or how I could have been further on if I had just a bit dared to put aside my insecurities. Like spare chairs in a shed, your fears should barely see the light of day. Internal struggles won but always locked away, show only your strength because Hercules could never show his pain. Even though we're all warriors of war, no strangers to being brave, the streets were the battleground. And we survived day by day, and we played the game day by day. A few scars along the way from wounds that we bandaged because thug life wasn't just a statement, we happened to live that way. The hate we were given was used as fuel. We drove miles and miles on rocks of inequality, boulders of insecurities, but our tires made it through. We stopped at so many gas stations along the way because our tanks weren't the biggest, but we made do. Whether it was with our little 1.2s or whatever our parents broke their backs waiting for us to do, it was all that we ever used to use. We turned mountains into molehills and guided our own paths. That's why when it comes to the art of survival, we're top of the class. Picasso, Michelangelo, and the Sistine Chapel couldn't ever dream to surpass all the pain that we survived, and from it created all this art. So now it's time to build all the walls and hang them high. Let the world see the scars and let your strength take flight. Thank you.
Yeah, already some comments in the chat there saying how strong that poem was. And I guess it was strong, but it was also gentle and bringing, I don't know, a lot of humanity and yeah, not just being strong for the sake of being strong, but also like showing what you've gone through. And I think that's an important thing to add to the mix of stuff we're exploring tonight. Yeah. So next up, we're going to have Tia Maraki. Tia is a poet, musician, jewellery maker, and yoga teacher, inspired by the beautiful landscapes of her adopted home on the edge of Exmoor and the North Devon coast. She can mostly be found playing with movement, words, melody, and breath, or outswimming or attempting to surf among the breaking waves of the Atlantic. Well, let's hear what the waves of the Atlantic have taught her. Here's Tia.
Hi. Thanks for having me. So yes, I just wanted to share two shortish poems with you today, both on the theme of waking up. So the first one is called A Wake-Up Call. Alarms blur our sleep, thoughts shift, make us all liars. Breath catches too heavy to hold, and the forests, the lungs of the world are on fire. Straw men all puffed up on spin, dancing on the pyre. Rumpelstiltskin weaving his gold. Alarms blur our sleep, thoughts shift, make us all liars. A gambler's roll, earth quakes and the seas rise higher, up the ante rather than fold, and the forests, the lungs of the world are on fire. So easily bored, column inches up for higher, still on repeat, the truth sounds old. Alarms blur our sleep, thoughts shift, make us all liars. Money only values futures bonded in mire. Invested, subsidized, we're sold. And the forests, the lungs of the world are on fire. We turn our backs to the tick-tock, embrace desire. Our lifeblood's running hot to cold. Alarms blur our sleep. Thoughts shift, make us all liars. And the forests, the lungs of the world are on fire. Yeah, and then the second one, thank you.
Not whooping the forests being on fire, obviously.
Yeah,
that's shit. That's really shit.
No, I figured you were saying that. And the second one is called Rise Up. Tree roots stir, antithesis of lullaby, singing blood back into our veins, marrow back into our bones, strength back into our souls. As I lay my feet, my palms, my bare-skinned back to ground, I feel Earth's anchors shift beneath me. What from standing had been barely a muted thud borne on the wind, now the deepest of bass drums reverberating in my chest, singing blood back into my veins, marrow back into my bones, strength back into my soul, singing me awake, paused and poised for the new world unfolding. These months have been precious, held in nature's cradle, ancient wisdoms dispensed in spiraling leaves. Catch one to keep, leave the others for the winds. Heart shook, but not yet roused enough from slumber to speak with the tongue between my teeth. Queen of the forest with serpents for feet, in 7 voices she speaks to me. Rise up, rise up, rise up, rise up, rise up, rise up, rise up. It's nearly time, and you are here where I have always needed you to be. Rest with me a little while, and as you rise, carry me with you, as I carry you with me.
Num num num.
Good to hear some structured poetry in there. I don't quite know what that structure was, but yeah, a lot of regularity and repetition going on there, which I'm sure is one of those official types of things, but I can't work out which one.
So Villanelle.
Sorry?
Villanelle.
Villanelle. Excellent. Yes. Yeah, people saying they could listen all evening. And as I say, like, we do have comments coming about previous people. So someone wants to buy your book, Ben. I hope that they can find you on social media. And yeah, and then they can do that. I imagine it's available online anyway. Yeah, do try and look people up and yeah, find their works, because as I say, quite a lot of these people have already got works published. We haven't like specifically chosen only poets who are like published and have won things and have done that. It is an open mic. We've just been very lucky in that most of the people who come up here have got credentials in some sense, but like, we are here for everyone. You don't have to be like threatened by the wondrousness of a lot of the words we've had here. So yeah, do next time do apply to be part of this, and yeah, take part, even if you haven't necessarily had 2 books published already. We're very happy to hear from you. And we're happy to keep hearing from B. Ude. B is a Derby-based artist and project manager using her professional multidisciplinary experience to empower and connect people, especially underrepresented voices, through creative facilitation, mindful activism, and social media projects. B's first poetry project, Dream Drops and Doodles on Okra, was published in August 2019 by Big White Shed, and she uses leadership and creative and self-care workshops. All right, let's see what we can hear from B. Please give her a nice round of applause.
Thank you, thank you. This poem is called an aria for Yao. This is for 2021. They grow so quick, like fertilizer, turned through rich, composted with bits of love, green beginnings, infinite potential, yam porridge. Sweet rainwater tickles melanin, toes, knees, shoulders brown, stretch outwards, reaches to sit up, aerates for her rightful seat at the table. Thank you. This one is called Bag for Life. Standing atop near Mount Inosayama's observatory, Nagasaki. Bags below my eyes, greed fulfillment at the base of Mount Miyajima's shrines. Squinting in thirst for the golden temple and the wooden one and the floating one near Hiroshima's shore. Each shrine is dedicated to each phase of my life. One plastic bag stretches thinly to cover battered goods, once freshly wrapped. Faded hopes fill one, declaring Ziploc. Reduced value items weighed down in one, lined with crumples. Decaying carrier bags resemble sprinkles flaked yellow onto iced cupcakes. Gently placed is each cupcake inside a box decorated in cowrie shells and emerald stones. Procrastination places a box down, unsure of whether to leave it open. Baggage finally abandoned. I leave the cupcakes for the eagles to share. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, lovely stuff. Little bit of ASMR you're doing there for us for your crumpling of bags. They're getting a little bit of theatre, which, yeah, okay, I guess there's some things that screens can't really bring with a live performance, but there's some extra things that you can do because you can be closer to everyone than you could comfortably be in a sort of large theatre. I think if all of the every 21 of us were right in your face like that, it'll be very unpleasant. Whereas here we can, really have that real connection. Yes, lovely stuff. Excellent. So we're going to move on now to Claire Collison. Claire was one of the 3 winners of the inaugural Women's Poets Prize in 2018. She comes second quite a lot, in fact, in the inaugural Resurgence Prize, which is now Ginkgo, in the Hippocrates Prize, and most recently in the Winchester Prize for her sweary sonnet, Little Deaths. She's widely published with recent poems in Field Notes on Survival by Bad Betty Pressegay, who you'll remember from Gboyega Odubanjo, the Valley Press anthology of prose poetry, Butcher's Dog, Finished Creatures, Magma, and The Rialto. There we are. Let's hear what we can hear, what portion of that Claire is going to bring for us today with a nice round of applause.
Thank you. I was thinking I could just change my introduction to just bag for life. Sums me up quite well. I'm going to read 2 brand new ones that are still very fresh. I've never read them before, and they came out of Jo Bell's lockdown initiative, Try to Praise the Mutilated World, which has just been fantastic. And they're both kind of around, follows on nicely from Bees, I think, plastic and seas and how much I depend on my connection to the sea. So here we go. First one's called Ode to Plastic on a Shoreline. Oh, ingenious plastic, cheering up the earnest calligraphy of the shore with your jazzy wingdings. I walk barefoot on cold sand, seeking you out, scooping you into my crock. Sheaths of polythene, your salty opacity, how cleverly you embrace the marine vernacular, blending. Sometimes I mistake Medusas for you. Jaunty balloon umbilicals, little anuses, all that remain, your mothership perished. Pretty brittle buckets and spades, bite-sized now, how well the Sea Museum curates you. All that touched us intimately, chup-chups we licked to sticks, foam earplugs incubated to our shape, forks that fed us, now seafood, tampon applicators who mediated places we did not want to touch. Gladly I touch you now. And if we'd been playing word bingo, I'm scoring quite highly on words that I've been hearing tonight, so there's clearly a few themes going, but this one's called The Hard Place. The cormorants are back. I swim out to their rock. One spreads its wings like washing, and I sear with cold. They say I thought I died and gone to heaven, but I really do wonder if I never came round and bliss like this is coma. My veins refused the needle 7 times, wrist to elbow crook, and I don't blame them. And so I was culverted. From gradual fog of chemo head, whole department stores of memory shut up shop for good. I don't remember the nurse soothed me that dry-docked summer, lidoless, reminded me its purpose. But I hear her when I'm with the cormorants. This is for all the swims you're yet to have. Thank you.
Oh, woo, woo, woo. So nice.
We're getting the best poetry reactions. You never get things like this at real nights, do you? You just get people clapping. Now we're getting all sorts of things. Love it. Yeah, excellent. And clearly we understand why we're getting these reactions. It's because poetry is being both a little bit unexpected, but also very touching. So yes, thank you for bringing your words in that way. We're continuing to get lovely comments about people who've been up previously. Some love for Mags there about sanitizing the beach. Yeah, people commenting, just clapping and yeah, basically just giving lots of praise to Tia. A vivid reading from B. People saying how to find Maya Owen because she may have been missed out of some of the social media things, but yeah. And also loving the bag for life comment, which I guess is both a response to B and to Claire. Yeah, we're going to have to keep moving because we're coming towards the end, but we've hopefully got 2 more open mics we can squeeze in there, and then we've got Rakaya. So yeah, lots of great stuff coming up. So we'll just, yeah. So the next poet is going to be Simon Madrill. Simon is living now in Bolton.
Brighton and Hove.
Sorry, you're in Brighton. He's moved. Okay, sorry. He was born on the Isle of Man, brought up in Bolton, then moved to London, Brighton and Hove. Anyway, he writes through the lens of a queer Manx man thriving with HIV. He's been the runner-up of the Frogmore Poetry Prize, highly commended in the Welsh Poetry Prize. Basically, he's won lots of things, including quite impressively with his newly not quite released yet book Queer Fella, which has already been joint winner in the Rialto Open Pamphlet competition. And you can also find his other not released that long ago collection, Throat Bone, which was also released like only about 3 months ago. So yeah, he's really quite prolific in his output and winning things with them. So there we are. Let's hear what we can hear from Simon Madrill.
Thank you, Robin. The species forecast. General synopsis 32000 endangered, critical, vulnerable, imminently rising. 3% corals, reef forming, becoming poor. 1-4 birds, Trafalgar, dropping later. Extinct in the wild, Old Pajita, northern white male rhino, Sudan, 2018, now extinct. Area forecast, British Isles. Viking, long-snouted, short-snouted seahorse, Cromarty 4th. Moderate or poor, occasional fog. Dogger, dogfish, shark, fisher, gale 8. Rough, thresher, taupe. Poor beagle, freed, blue. Near severe, backing. Leatherback, loggerhead. Turtle doves. Occasionally scattered. Whitby, 9-7% dropping. Severe icing later. Kittiwake shmoo, Arctic skua, Dover white. Occasional snow showers. Undulate ray. Temperature moving northward 2.5 miles yearly. Butterflies 0.6. Tortoiseshell backing southerly. Hoopoe rising more slowly. Plymouth, harbour seal, harbour porpoise, bottlenose dolphin, sturgeon. Temin stint, already extinct. Wryneck also wrong. Shags later, occasionally poor. Redwing, lapwing, meadow pipit, winter sowing crops, rain, squally snow later, shearwater, bileriac, manx, rattus bite, becoming severe gale 9. Ronaldsway, hen harrier flying more slowly, channel light vessel automatic, silly soul, Atlantic, halibut, cod, puffin, Lundy. Pink sea fan, mermaid's purse, great orm's head, dropping fastnet. Western storm 10, Irish sea, red squirrel, Liverpool, Crosby, snipe. Lockton, Shetland, Isle of Man, basking, sun to light showers. Cosnard's netwing, beetle, beech trees, moderate falling. V-moth, rockall currents growing, poor becoming fog. Hedgehog, Winters, moderate or good, roads veering slowly, redknap, phalarope, natterjack, toad, North Foreland, occasionally good, rasping coal, backing, mating, warm and still, hazel, dormice, hedgerows, moderate, becoming poor, Scottish wildcats, Cape Wrath, storm 10 to violent 11, watervoles, partially dry, mainly wet, occasional fog, Rattray head, dropping westward, snow bunting, severe icing, common skate, imminently. Scottish crossbill veering north, becoming poor. Violent storm 11, Hebrides, Bailey, light icing, Fair Isle, Faroes, time, Greenwich light vessel automatic, receding slowly. Southeast Island warming quickly. Squatina, hurricane force 12. Thank you.
You do hurricane. Natural.
Wow.
Good. And yes, comments, of course, occasionally very good. In the chat there, and the other obvious joke would be that he won't be becoming poor if you buy his book. So please go and do that. Excellent. We're going to just quickly squeeze in Deborah Watson. So she's one of the people who's been helping to run Poets for the Planet. She's helped to organize this. She does intimate one-on-one performances. She has a chat book called Laments and Incantations. She's performed internationally, including in Antwerp, apparently. And yeah, lots of stuff to do with spoken word essays, and I think that was published quite recently, actually, the spoken word essay, and also a founding member of Poets for the Planet. So let's hear from Deborah Watson.
Thank you. So I'm going to do something that I don't normally do. I attended a writing workshop this week with Jacqueline Safra, who actually got Poets for the Planet started on sonnets. This is a first go. I'm not very good at it, but I thought I'd share it for you. It's called The Sonnet for the Cubbington Pear Tree. Moments ago, I was anointed best of the year. My picture in the paper, the wild pear tree. 250 years celebrated, cheered from tiny seed to matriarch, stubbornly free. A true monarch, splendid crown of green, my court a swirling mass of nests, fledglings of birds, insects for generations returned and weaned within my canopy of twisted branches, weddings. Anointed with fragrant fruit, my shelter, blessings, resilient as land around harness from wild to cultivated field, I stood proud, unregretting, sovereign in growth, roots steady, benignly smiled. But for you who think only in lines that are straight, my life has been worthless, your profit, my fate.
There we go. Astonishing what you can do within constraints, isn't it? Like sometimes you can immediately feel that you're listening to a sonnet, and sometimes it's just like, oh, just so effortless. There we go. I think that was definitely in the effortless category. But right, we are now coming towards the end of this, and hopefully you've been having as good a time as I have. But we do have one final act. She's exceedingly busy, so she has already been running another workshop tonight, but she has arrived here just in time for her performance. This is Rakaya Fetuga. So I first saw her when I was supporting another person at the Roundhouse Slam, and immediately as she performed, it was disappointing because I could just see that she was going to win the slam, and therefore the person who I was there supporting was not. Fortunately, we're not a slam tonight, so we're allowed to enjoy it when everyone is good. We can just be like, oh, excellent, lovely poetry, without a sort of slight edge of, oh no, are they better than the person that I want to win? So she's been doing an awful lot of things since she's won that. She has won Spread the Word competition as well before that. She's been published in anthologies, including Letters to the Earth. She's been commissioned by C40 Cities in the Race to Zero Conference 2020 and Bloomberg Philanthropies. An advocate for self-expression, she hosts an open mic night in Northwest London and works with the Poetry Society to support other young writers nurture their talent, as she has indeed been doing tonight. So please give a lovely welcome to Rakaya Fetuga.
Woo! Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Robin. That I didn't know that story. So thank you for being there on that day, even though you weren't supporting me, but that's cool. And yeah, it's great to be here. I did catch like maybe 40 minutes, and what I heard was amazing. There's been so much great poetry shared today. Sorry I couldn't be here for all of it. But yeah, I'm just gonna get straight into it. So this first poem, I'm gonna share maybe 4, and this first one is called Enterprise. As the climate changes, the finance we receive, sorry, let me start again. As the climate changes, the finance we refused will seem small. It costs more to mend a body wrecked than to break its fall. Now that our body is falling, flailing limbs of blue and juniper green dropping to the jaws of a hurricane, the leg will suffer what the foot has done, and the arm the hand, and the shoulder the neck, the waters and land a foreboded wreck. Mitigation and money are sisters. Together they'll nurse the world, mending the cracks, aligning the spine and supporting the back, caring for the seas as they meet with the skies, knowing where to begin, raising clean enterprise like open palms that say, tomorrow will be better if we prepare for it today. So that was Enterprise. The next poem I'm gonna share is called When Asked How Her People Will Fight for Tomorrow. She said, today, I have already been in emergency, birthed children and waded in it. Chin deep in crisis, the surface shimmering like oil on a polluted sea. The pedestals of place, possession, or privilege kept you dry, gave you time to overlook my poverty, placelessness, persecution, a height that let you call it someone else's fight, someone else's ocean. Even when it glimmered by your side, even when it thrashed and drowned your neighbors. Now, crisis laps against your shoe, wets your child's feet, and you realize how small they are, and even you. No one is too tall to feel. No one is too safe to fear. To look in the face of the past, its foaming, rising waves unruly like the future. To look in the face of it and call it emergency. So that was that poem. The next one I'm gonna share, thank you. A woo in the back. The next one I'm gonna share is called Winter Blossom. And this is actually, I wrote it for my friend when her father passed away. But I think losses, all types of loss are connected, whether you're talking about whatever kind of beings are on the earth that you're missing. They're all very connected. So I'm going to read this poem called Winter Blossom. Does your laughter feel like winter blossom? A fog of petals in your lungs, forcing joy a season too soon. I don't know the taste of your grief. Maybe it is a damaged earth, the world offbeat and threatening. But in this spring-colored January, you still lift your head from the nest of your elbows. Tell me to sit, pour me a drink. We break bread and spill tea and laugh like there isn't a plate at home left empty. Take all the time that you need to speak with the weather inside of you. There is pollen on your fingertips from turning the seasons in your throat to prayer, to Allah yarhamu, to inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. I know we should say it's never too soon, not for returning to light, not while you're still turning your life over in your hands, trying to see its beauty in a catch of sun. But if it does feel too soon, it's okay. It's okay if it feels it. And that was Winter Blossom. Thank you. Yeah, I actually wrote that last year and just shared it recently, last winter. And it's a very different winter now. So that was that. I'm going to share one more poem, and this is the one Robin mentioned that I I wrote a poem for the C40 Cities conference, and they asked me to write about the Green New Deal and just a hopefulness looking forward to the future. So this is what I looked at and what I chose to focus on. And I don't think I've given the poem a name yet, but this is that poem. Okay. Close your eyes. Today we're giving the future wings. No more clipping at the shoulder blades, heads turned, ignoring climate change. Now each of us must find that green new hope growing inside, that lush ambition, that rush to listen to the voice, securing dreams like feathers along the frame of our new day. Dreams like cleaner air, like renewable energy and money division that's fair, like the end of coal power, letting new ideas flower, not leaving a moment to spare. Dreams like zero emissions on our roads, like safe, affordable homes, like everyone gets to eat and global brains get to meet, thinking of the world that we know. In London, sometimes we move too fast to think about it. But when I talk to my friends about home, Isra speaks of her family's open doors in El Ubaid and Khartoum, sitting around one huge dish, half full on food, half on stories and laughter. Sit El Shay ladies outside serving sweet coffee and warm conversation. The song, faith and smiles, full Madamas mornings and the lapping of the Nile. But the results of our ill climate means she's seen some Sudanese homes were washed away by violent rain, flooding the grounds they used to pray, where they planted their crops, where they loved and lost so many, always rising to rebuild in the morning. When Mario speaks of home, it's the open arms of people. Beimvinda, Beiro welcomes all with soft white sands, fine as flour. His father can point out a new kind of fish near their shore for every day of the year, in their often neglected but vibrant city. Sun golden as the mangoes, mangoes rich as the acacia trees, trees as wide as the hearts of the people. But they've seen what happens when home is torn away, gutted by a cyclone that lasted for days, bashing dark winds over the brightest lands in Mozambique, turning all the lights out. Only the corn kernels of devastation left to eat. He wants better for his city that hardly left a carbon footprint but still shakes from the stamping of Western boots. The time to act is now. The moment is an open sky, so close your eyes. Today we're giving the future wings. It's rising and equipped with all the important things we know and are ready to learn about this rich and wonderful earth that is worth all our best aspirations. There will be no more clipping at the shoulder blades, heads turned, ignoring climate change. Now each of us must find that green new hope growing inside. Let it free from your throat. Let it stream from your eyes as our future takes off. Watch it fly. And that is the end. Woo! Thank you. That's the last poem from me. Thank you so much for having me tonight. It's really great to be part of this event. Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you for bringing so much poetry with you, and yeah, such a wealth of different things that you can talk about, like flowing so neatly from this ethereal beauty of nature to please actually just have more renewable energy, Mr. Prime Minister, which is like an odd transition for a poem to have to do. But yeah, we are really going through the entire gamut of things that need to happen for us to make the world a better place. We do need to appreciate the beauty and to be motivated by it to actually do something. So yeah, thank you for bringing that. And thank you to all of the poets for bringing their incredible wealth of experience, their knowledge, their beauty, their wordcraft with them to capture such a range. We are, of course, inundated by praise that we had mostly for Rakaya. People taking mottos from that. The moment is an open sky. Lots of great quotes in that, which you can read back for yourself. No more clipping of the shoulder blades. People, talking about how great the weaving of language was. There's also more effusive praise for people who performed previously. Deborah's poem was described as a heartbreaking sonnet. Yes, and various clappings for other people above that. Yeah, someone loving to hear Claire read. Excellent, lots of lovely stuff. Basically, if you've enjoyed yourself and if you've got some disposable money at the moment, it would be lovely if you could check out the PayPal link that we should have in the description of the event below. That money that is, first of all, we'll pay our features, and if we have more, we'll give it to Bees for Development, as I said before. So that would be great. We also should just give thanks to all the people who've been supporting this event structurally. So Deborah Watson, you've seen, she's been doing a lot of the admin behind this event, making sure people are knowing when they're going to come up. Yeah, the emailing and the establishing all of these amazing bios that we've seen. Ian McLaughlin has been doing the social media side of the event. David Dykes has been doing the technical side of the event. And we should also just thank the other groups that have helped us put this event together and give word out to the world. So Whiskey and Beards, which also supported us last time, Apples and Snakes, and also Capital Word, the Leicester NHS group. And hopefully you can also check out all of these people. They have their own events. We are only doing this once a season, so we are not taking up a huge amount of your time. If this is whetting your appetite, obviously check out all these poets on social media, but also check out all these other organizations because they have a lot more things going on. And that's all from us. So thank you, and hopefully see you next time. Goodbye.
Bye, thank you so much.
Bye. Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
Well done. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, everyone.